Hello, I'm Jacob Kruger, and this is the Write Your Screenplay podcast. This podcast is coming to you from my hotel room at the Lake Placid Film Festival, where I've just traveled after speaking at the Austin Film Festival. It is festival season, and I want to start today with a congratulations, because Jake Kruger Studio students have had such extraordinary success at Austin that I just got to brag about them for a little while. We had 4 winners. We had 15 finalists, 30 semifinalists. We had 67 second rounders and 4 pitch competition finalists, including a +1 of Sam Shaber, who's a friend of our studio. It's one of the most respected film festivals in the world that literally launches careers. We're going to list all of their names in the show notes of this podcast so that you can congratulate them. And that brings me to what we're going to talk about this week, which is how to actually get the most out of film festivals. How to know which film festivals to apply to, how to know which film festivals to go to, how to network at film festivals and actually build those connections, and how to harness the doors that open when you win a big one in order to take your career to the next level. So stay tuned. It's going to be fun. This podcast is brought to you by our program, ProTrack. What ProTrack does is it matches emerging writers like you with top working professional writers who will meet with you every week or every other week and mentor you throughout your entire career at the tiniest fraction of the cost of grad school. We're talking Emmy Award winners, Golden Globe Award winners, Pulitzer Prize nominee. We have some of the top writers, and they're there for you at a price that you can afford and a lifetime of mentorship. So if you want to learn more about it, check it out. Okay, so let's talk about film festivals. What is the greatest value of a film festival? The greatest value of a film festival is access. The greatest value of a film festival is always access. It is not the plaque that goes on your wall. It is not the ego boost that comes with winning or making it to the second round or being a semifinalist or a finalist. It is not the money or the prize. The greatest value of a film festival is always in the access. And there are 2 different levels of access that you are looking for. The first level of access is people who can buy your script, option your script, develop your script, become your mentors, advise you, guide you, help give you an entree into the industry, represent you. And the second level of connections can be even more important. These are the people who are 1 degree further in their career than you are. These are your peers, right? This is the director whose film that you saw at this film festival that blew you away, who's a new director. This is their first movie or their second movie. And they're looking for their next project, and maybe that project can be yours, right? This is the talented young producer or talented emerging actor, right, that you see, you meet, you connect to at this film festival, and you go, I need to work with this person. One of the greatest values of film festivals in general is the opportunity to build community, which we all need to succeed. We cannot succeed without it. And at the same time, a lot of writers have real trouble building community because a lot of us are introverts. For a lot of us, approaching another writer at a film festival is scary. Producing a director and going, hey, I loved your film, is scary. So we need some skills that allow us to overcome our extroversion and build these connections. And we're going to be talking about how to do that. Now, how do you know which festivals you should actually apply to? How do you know which festivals you should go to? Well, if you have unlimited resources, of course, you want to apply to all of them. But for a lot of us, we don't have unlimited money, right? That can be thousands of dollars. And if we're going, it can be even more, right? And so if you are like most people that walk the earth, you've got to make some hard choices. So it's really important to know that there are many different levels of film festival. And some, if you win them, will change your life. And some, if you win them, will do actually very little. There's a big difference between winning at Austin and winning Uncle Joe's Film Festival of Southern New Jersey. There's a different level of competition when you win at Austin, when you win at Sundance, right? When you win at these top festivals. You are competing against tens of thousands of people, and you are competing against the best of the best in the world, the top of the top. You're not competing against amateurs, you're competing against professionals and emerging professionals. And when you win Uncle Joe's Film Festival of Southern New Jersey, you are competing against amateurs. And not only are you likely competing against amateurs, you are likely competing against a small number of amateurs, right? You're likely competing maybe against 50 writers or 100 writers, right? Some of these festivals actually get very few applicants because they're so small. And the effect of that is that sometimes producers end up feeling burned by these small festivals, right? They end up feeling burned because, early in their careers, they find out that this script won Uncle Joe's, and they go, sure, I'll read an award-winning script. And then they read it, and they go, oh, hold on a second. This is not a producible movie. Sure, the writer has a great voice, and there's some talent, but they don't understand structure, right? This script is not a professional-level script, even though there are beautiful things in it. It was good enough. It was the best out of the 50 applicants that Uncle Joe's Film Festival got. But it wasn't actually a professional movie. Whereas the truth is a second rounder at Austin might have a lot more credit, right? Might hold a lot more promise than the winner at Uncle Joe's, because that second rounder had to make it through tens of thousands of competitors and was competing with the best of the best. And so a lot of producers have been burnt. And you have to be aware, if you're competing at festivals, that every once in a while, if you're not one of the big ones, you'll call a producer and say, hey, I won Uncle Joe's Film Festival. And they'll go, I don't care. And the reason they're saying I don't care is because they've been burned in the past, right? They know that Uncle Joe's and a lot of these smaller film festivals have not been able to deliver for them. And yet, at the same time, some small film festivals can actually be even more valuable for you as a screenwriter than the big ones. And here's the reason. You go to Sundance, for example. There's a red carpet, right? There's a lot of VIP stuff. There is a big barrier between you and a lot of the people that you're trying to get to. And there's a lot of value about Sundance, and we're going to talk about exactly why you should go to Sundance, but it's a different reason. And you need to understand, at Sundance, the producers who are there, they're not talking to you because Sundance is a market, and their job is to buy and sell films at Sundance, not to find new filmmakers at Sundance. So sometimes when you go to these really big festivals, now Austin is different. Austin is not a market. And Austin, you have the best writers, producers, directors, managers, agents in the world descending on the Austin conference to help and teach and mentor. That's a different beast. But some of these really, really big contests and festivals, unless you win, in which case you're going to get access, going is actually valuable in a different way, because it's very hard to get to the people who you could potentially sell to. Whereas a small festival, for example, I'm at Lake Placid right now, right? And there are major producers who come here to speak. And coming to a small festival like this, there is no red carpet. You can just sit down and talk to somebody, right? even if you're not a winner, right? It's just easy to get access because it's a smaller festival and they don't have the same closed doors that the bigger ones do. So how do you know if the festival is actually going to give you access to people or not? Well, one of the things you can do is look at the prizes. Are the prizes money or are the prizes access? And are the prizes access to big people or small people? Right? If the prizes are access to big people, like our students who won the Josephson or the Enderby Entertainment prizes at Austin, those give you access to some of the best producers in the world who are actually going to be invested in a fellowship where they develop your work. The WGA fellowship. If you have access to something like that, then you can probably depend, even if it's a small festival, that there are real people involved, and a lot of those real people are probably going to go. And it may be easier to rub elbows with them and talk to them and connect to them in that smaller environment than it would be to do it at Sundance where they're busy trying to make sales. So what do you look for? Because there are so many of these contests. Beyond the prizes, you want to look for festivals that happen in beautiful locations at nice times of the year. Just start there. Because producers and managers and agents are just like you. They like to go nice places. Now, not every contest in a nice place has the access to actually get these people to show up. But look for festivals that are in nice places at nice times of year, and then check their speaker list. Who is going to speak there outside of the prizes? Who is talking? Are those people that could potentially help you? Are those people whose work you respect and admire? If so, it might be worth going even as a second rounder. It might be worth going even if you didn't submit. It might be worth going because this is an opportunity to potentially talk to somebody who can help you and take you to the next level. And if you win, or if you're a finalist or semifinalist, you definitely want to go because you're going to get even more access to those people. Whereas if you're a finalist or semifinalist or even win Uncle Joe's, it may not be worth the trip if you have limited finances. It might not be worth the trip if they don't have real producers, real agents, real managers who want to go to Southern New Jersey in December. So this is why it's really important to do your research. If you have limited resources, you got to do your research. If you have unlimited resources, go to Uncle Joe's because there might be some dude from New Jersey who has a lot of money, who doesn't know anything about filmmaking, but wants to pick up one of these award-winning scripts from Uncle Joe's Film Festival, Southern New Jersey. And guess what? You're going to talk to them. So again, you have to think about what is your financial risk level, right? What can you afford? And if you've got to focus, which most of us do, you want to focus on places that have great speakers and that have the most possible access, right? Meaning smaller festivals with great speakers. So if that's the case, why should you still go to Sundance? Because I started the saying, of course you should go to Sundance. Of course you should go to the big film festivals. Well, number one, everybody's there. And so there's always the opportunity to bump into somebody. But number two, at a festival like Sundance, and of course, I'll be at Sundance too, so come hang with me. At a festival like Sundance, the real value is not the big players who are actually much harder to access because they're so busy. It's the community, right? So at the end of every single screening, there's talkback. And at that talkback, you know who's going to be up there? The producer, director, star. And sometimes these are major people who are too big to really get to, but often they're not, right? Often they're just a couple steps further in their career than you are. This is their first movie, their second movie, their first time directing, their second time directing, their first time producing. And these people are easy people to approach after the talkback. They're also easy people to recognize in the street or at the bar. These are not the people who are at the VIP party that only the top people in Hollywood get into. These are the people you're going to be rubbing elbows with at the smaller parties that you can actually get access to. So you want to go to the big festivals to meet the people in your community. The director who might be perfect. The producer who's looking for the next project. You want to go to small festivals if they give you real access, they have real people come in order to get access to the people who could potentially buy your script, potentially represent you, who could potentially mentor you, right? The people who are at the next level. Okay, so we talked about all of that. Another really important word of warning. Do not ever pay a film festival for notes. Please do not ever pay a film festival for notes. Because it's so important to understand you're not getting notes. What you're getting is coverage. And coverage is not notes. Coverage will never be notes. Any self-respecting producer, when they are going to give you notes, that's a huge investment of their time. And they're going to sit down and they're going to read your script and they're going to talk to you about it. That's how it's done. You don't send the script out to somebody who's working at a contest, maybe as a volunteer, maybe $25, $35 a script, maybe at the very most $50 a script, right? You have to think about what those numbers are, how much time it would take you to really read a script, a summary, a commentary, a good log line, helpful notes, and you realize, oh, these people will be working for 32 cents an hour. It's impossible. So never pay for feedback because you're not getting feedback, you're getting coverage. You're not getting thoughtful notes from an expert. You are getting notes from a volunteer, from a low-paid reader who doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. And almost certainly, those notes will develop your script into the ground. By the way, this is true for all coverage. Coverage is not notes. Coverage is a way that producers politely pass on scripts they don't want. Because coverage is always skinned, right? Coverage readers need to read so quickly just to make it through their workload. Okay. So you're never going to pay for notes. And here's the other thing that's really important. No one contest, whether it's Uncle Joe's or Austin Film Festival, can really tell you if your script is working or not. This is so important. If you don't make it to the second round of a contest, even if it's Uncle Joe's, and it's just one or just two, you don't actually know anything. You might have the best script in the world and just a bad reader who is having a bad day or who doesn't like the genre. If your script doesn't make it to the second round and you apply to 10 festivals, then you actually know you have a problem. And not only do you have a problem in the first 10 pages, because most festivals, they don't actually have the resources to really deeply read every script. So most festivals, not all, but most, are actually deciding who makes it to the second round based mostly on the first 10 pages. Is this working or is this not working? Working. Okay, put it in the second round. Not working. Okay, forget it. And still, if it's just one, you don't know. It might be that reader. But if it's 10, if it's 20, you start to know, okay, I've got a problem. And the problem doesn't mean the script is bad. The problem means there's something wrong with my craft of my first 10 pages that's not hooking them and making them go, this should make it to the next round. So it's important not to take one, even if it's Uncle Joe's or even if it's Sundance, you don't take one too seriously. You have to get a high enough number that you actually have a sense of generally how people are responding. I'll tell you a real story about this. I have this wonderful writer who has worked with me in ProTrack for years, and she has this beautiful script that she had worked her butt off on. And she submitted to a festival, and she got back some of the most beautiful feedback that I've ever seen. It was, to say it was effusive doesn't even capture the life-changing experience that this coverage reader had reading the script. And my student called me and she was so excited. And I said to her, I'm excited too. I'm excited for you. And I actually agree with this person. I agree this script is so beautiful. And at the same time, I don't want you to take it too seriously. Go celebrate the win, go to the contest, or Go celebrate the win, go to the festival, but I don't want you to take it too seriously. And she looked at me like I had two heads. And then 2 weeks later, she called me back because she had gotten feedback from actually a much smaller festival that was so ugly. It was basically like the give me my 2 hours back, right? It was so savage in its criticism of the same script that this larger festival thought was the most incredible thing had they ever read. It was so savage. And she said, you know what, Jake, I finally get it. I get why you said not to take it too seriously. For the same reason, you don't want to take the negative notes too seriously, right? Because different readers have different preferences, and these are not professionals. These are volunteers. These are amateurs. Like all coverage readers, they have to be, because you just don't make enough money to stay in that as a career. Okay, so we understand that concept. The last little piece of that is, okay, I get a lot of students at these festivals. Certainly several students at Austin came up to me and said, hey, Jake, I'm a finalist. I don't know what's wrong with my script that's keeping me from winning. And the answer to that is you'll never know. If you're a finalist at multiple festivals, particularly if they're big ones, it's probably time to stop working on that script. If you've made it all the way up to the finalist level on more than one film festival and you still haven't won, that's luck. That's not a problem with your script that's keeping it from transcending. And that doesn't mean the script couldn't be better. But in general, if you're having that kind of success frequently, the script is already really freaking good. And you'll probably be better served, instead of trying to take that one over the hill, which is really might be determined by luck or might be determined by the fact that there are other scripts in that genre that have already won, or might be determined by anything. The day that the fourth reader had a genre preference, you just don't know. So if you're making it really far, you're making all the way to finalists in many festivals and you're not winning, that is not a reflection on your work. Stop pouring your endless hours trying to get the last little bite out of that script. That script's good. Instead, it's now time to move on to your next script so you can get multiple scripts that are at that level. When you're competing with the best of the best at the best festival, like our 15 finalists were, hey, out of those, we had 4 winners. That's huge. That's incredible. Right? But all of those scripts were worthy. They had competed against the best of the best. At that point, it's fractional and it's subjective what makes one win and what makes another not. Okay, so now you know how to use the feedback you get from contests. You know the 2 different ways of getting value out of contests: access to big people and access to people who are your peers, who are going to help you take your script to the next level and whom you can help as well. The next thing I want to talk about is, how do you approach people? Because at so many of these festivals, we take these introverted writers who really just want to be sitting alone at home with their laptop, and we put them into the most awkward possible position. Now, if you're not one of these people, if you're an extrovert, you don't need this, even though I'm still going to give you stuff that might be valuable for you that makes your extroversion even more successful. But this piece of the podcast is for the introverts who show up at these film festivals and they are freaking terrified. So a couple of things to think about. Usually introverts get terrified at film festivals because they feel like they have to sell their script or themselves to somebody. And what I would like to suggest to you is, don't sell your script or yourself to anybody. I'd like to suggest that instead, spend your time at the film festival looking for your tribe and looking for people that you can help. Let's talk about the tribe first. Your tribe means you vibe this person. You like them. You'd want to hang out with them. You appreciate them. You enjoy them. You find them inspiring, right? That's your tribe, right? And your tribe might be a writer who's at the same level as you. It might be a director that, man, I I loved her movie. I wish she would direct mine, right? It might be a young producer where you're like, man, this film, she does such a beautiful job. It's so beautifully produced and it was made for nothing, but it looks gorgeous, right? Your tribe are people that you like and respect and that can respect you. And the way you find your tribe is not by trying to sell yourself, right? Just like the way you made your friends wasn't by going, I'm Jake and I'm highly valuable as a friend. And here are all the things that I'm going to do, right? That's not how you make your friends, right? You make your friends because you had a beautiful conversation. Because there was a connection, because you asked a lot of questions and you got to know them. So get to know them. There are some techniques that you can use that will make it easier to get to know them. The first technique is a technique called mirroring. So let's say the person's sitting like this. You can gently bring your hand up and mirror them. And you'll know that you've built a connection when they start to mirror you too. Now, again, you're not playing like Simon Says and like racing, right? So if they're like this, you have to just find a time to gently mirror. And if they shift and they lean back, you're not going to dive back to match them. Instead, you're going to take your time, keep talking, and then you're going to find a time to lean back. And what happens is this activates our mirror neurons, and it makes us feel connection with people. If their voice, if they talk like this, and they're really quiet, then you're going to kind of match their voice. You're going to talk like this, and be really quiet, right? And if they're animated, you're going to go, yeah, that's exactly how I feel, right? You're going to mirror them. And what that's going to do is, on their end, it's just going to make them like you, right? They're going to feel like, this is my kind of person. But on your end, it's also going to help you understand them, to feel what it must feel like to be them, to connect. So mirroring is a skill that you can use all the time. It's one of the most incredible networking skills, and it's easy. Again, you're not racing. You're gently doing it. Now, here's how you know if you're mirroring successfully. You've been talking to them every couple of minutes. You've been mirroring them gently. They're here, you're here. They lean back. You keep talking for a while. You lean back. Here's how, if they're lean back and you're lean back and you lean back forward and they lean back forward too, now you're in rapport. Right? Now you guys actually understand each other. You guys are actually connected, not on the conscious level, but on the subconscious level, at the intuitive level. You got them. If you're leaned back and they're leaned back and you lean forward and they don't match you, you don't have them yet. No problem. Find a time to find your way back here and you keep mirroring. So this is a simple way that you can test and see if you're in connection with somebody. Now, how do you get to the point where you even get to mirror somebody? Go stand in line. Sometimes the networking events are the scariest events to network, to talk at, right? But go stand in line for something you're interested in. It's literally this easy. Hi, I'm Jake Kruger. You literally just introduce yourself with your name. And then you ask them a question. And if you're real anxious, again, your focus is on mirroring it, but if you're real anxious, you can make a list of questions you're going to ask people. For example, you're online to go see my lecture at Austin about the myth of 3x structure is what I taught. You're talking to the person in front of you. You go, oh, have you heard Jake speak before? Oh, what do you think about 3x structure? Oh, are you here with a screenplay? Or a TV show? What's been the best thing you've experienced so far? Where are you from? You're literally just going to ask questions, and you're going to put your focus on mirroring and getting to know them, not on pitching them, not on selling them. This is an easy way to start to build rapport and go, is this my tribe? If you're at a talkback and you're dealing with people who are like one step above you, it's as easy as you walk up to them and you say, hey, I was really moved by your movie. And give them something specific, right? Find something that you saw in their film that you think not everyone's commenting on, but you could tell it really mattered to them. If you're if you were meeting Francis Ford Coppola, he's obviously bigger than you really need. But like you're meeting Francis Ford Coppola, don't talk about the baptism scene in The Godfather. That's what everyone's talking to him about. Talk to him about Gene Hackman's raincoat in the conversation and the fact that it's clear, right? The fact that even that attempt to protect himself is visually failing. And you want to notice the little thing that's really specific, ideally that really made you want to work with that person. And you want to say that to them. And you want to mirror them. Let them talk. And then it's a talk back. They're probably busy. But they're probably not that busy through the whole festival, right? Because a lot of the people you're approaching are not famous, right? They're first-time Sundance people, right? They're first-time filmmakers, second-time filmmakers. And so you literally can just say, hey, I would like to talk to you about a project that I think you would be incredible for. Do you have 10 minutes where we could sit down? It's literally like that. And then when you sit down, you mirror them, you ask them questions until they're like, tell me about the project. So you're not going in immediately for the sale. With regular people, you're just going in for the conversation. Are they my tribe? With people who are one step ahead of you, you're going in for a specific compliment. And then, can I have 10 minutes of your time? Make sure you get their email and their phone. I'll email you right now. What's your phone number? You get it. You don't give them your card. You'll never hear back. You have to take the action. If they say no, okay, no problem. They're probably busy. But there's a really good chance they're going to say yes. If you're at the next level, if it is Francis Ford Coppola, if it is somebody huge, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to ask for mentorship. You're going to say, hey, again, same thing. The beautiful compliment that's really specific. Could I ask you for 10 minutes of your time? And you're really going to respect the 10 minutes. I could really use some mentorship. They might say, yeah, right now. They might schedule another time. They might say, sorry, no. But you're really just going to ask them for 10 minutes of their time to get some mentorship, because mentorship is easy to give. And again, it takes you out of this position of feeling like you've got to sell. And it puts you in this position of going, I got to ask. Mentorship might look like this. I got this script. It's a finalist at Austin. It's a semi-finalist at Austin. So it's a second rounder at Austin, right? It plays in 15 festivals. It's won 3, right? I know the script is good. Give them a quick pitch. It's about this. And obviously, I would kill for you to produce it. But I think you'll probably too big for me. I'm curious if you could point me in the right direction of somebody who's like you 10 years ago, right? Who's you 20 years ago, right? Who's you when you were young, right? Who has your kind of taste and your kind of passion and your visual eye, right? But who's looking to work with newer writers like me. They may go, oh, I'm interested. Or they might go, I don't know. But you're looking for guidance. And they don't know, you go, how on earth to find those people, right? You want to make the ask really clear. Or I'm looking for management. Do you know a good young manager? You're looking for the introduction. And once you get the yes, you don't keep the conversation. You go and you say, thank you so much. Can I mention your name when I call? Yes, great. No, okay, that's fine too. You now are one step further in your networking, and you say, hey, I'm going to follow up and let you know it means so much to have your mentorship. Is it cool if I drop you an email, let you know how it went? Sure. Okay, great. What's your email? So what we're trying to do is you're trying to build a network of mentors. That's with a high-level person, with somebody who is a step beyond you. You go, I really want you to produce this. Can I pitch it to you? For a person who's your peer, you just talk to them about all about their project. Eventually, if they're a nice person, if they're actually your tribe, they're going to ask you, well, what are you working on? And you're going to share it. And guess what? If they don't, they're not your tribe. And you lost at nothing. And you go, hey, it was so nice to meet you. This is how you get out of a conversation. I learned this actually at a lecture, and I was blown away by it. I started using it. It's so wonderful. That's how you get out of a conversation once you realize they're not your tribe. Thank you so much for your time. It was so lovely to meet you. I'm going to go butterfly. See, everybody understands that just like them, you're there to network. And there's nothing wrong with going, hey, I'm going to go butterfly. I got to go talk to people. You get their contact info or you don't. You share, they're not your tribe, you share yours just in case they loved you. And you move on to the next person. Your job is not to sell your script. Your job is to build a community at 3 different levels. Number 1, the community of people who are your peers. They're at your level and they inspire you. Number 2, at the level of they're one step above you, but they might be interested in your work. They might be a future part of your team. And number 3, the people who are way above you, who could potentially become mentors, who help guide you in the right direction. And if you're doing those things, you are getting so much out of your festival. You can do these things at a small festival. One of our wonderful students, Jenna Lorenzo, she met Bobby Farrelly singing karaoke at a tiny little film festival called Catalyst. It used to be called ITV Fest in Vermont, where we were actually teaching. That's why she was there, right? She met Bobby Farrelly not pitching her script, but singing karaoke. And he ended up producing her movie. Why? Because he was her tribe. They connected over karaoke. And eventually he asked her about her project, and her project was great, and she loved it. And this is the last thing I want to leave you with. It is so rare that a producer, director, agent, manager, actor actually gets to read a great script. It's common. Lots of writers, producers, agents, managers, directors, lots of people get to pitch great ideas constantly. But a great script is really, really rare. And if you have one, then you are not some nobody writer trying desperately to get somebody's help. If you actually have one, then you are scratching a desperate itch for someone who has a desperate need. Because all producers, all agents, all managers, they all need great scripts. And most of what they read, even by working professional writers, is crap. It's people blowing out scripts, throwing them against the wall to see if it sticks. That's why you need to spend the time making your script great. You need to spend the time getting the most out of every word. Having that beautiful script, and that will put you in a place of confidence. Now, not everyone's looking for your script, right? Some producers only make zombie movies. Some producers only make dramas, right? Not everyone is looking for your script. But the people who are, they're desperate for it. And that's why if you put your focus not on making the sale, but instead of on helping, it's going to change your world. Because most of us feel very uncomfortable selling. We're not used to selling. We're writers. But most of us feel very comfortable helping. And this is why you want to put your focus on mirroring and asking questions. Get to know what they want. Get to know what they're looking for. Get to know where their pain is, where their struggles are. What's the movie they wish they made? What are they looking for their next project? What makes a script stand out to them? If that's your script, you go, I have something like that. Could I talk to you about it? If that's not your script, it's okay to go, wow, do I not have the script for you? Hey, could I trouble you for some mentorship? See, you're not trying to make the sale. You're trying to help them or get some mentorship. And sometimes you realize, hey, I actually don't have the right script for you, but there's this dude in my tribe who does. There's this person I met earlier who actually would be a perfect fit for you. Or did you see this movie? Because I just met with the director, and I think you would love them. And see, now what you're doing is you're paying it forward inside of your tribe. Instead of being that used car salesman trying to stick this person with your script, you are now helping them fulfill a need, and you're helping somebody in your community. You're putting people together, and you're building a feeling of goodwill that is going to last so far beyond the end of that film festival. This is your real job. Your real job is to find your tribe and help them. And if helping them is your script, then that's great. And if helping them is somebody else's script, then that's great. And if helping them is recognizing, hey, I don't have the right thing for you, but you're going to get to feel great about yourself by mentoring somebody emerging and inexperienced and talented. Because it feels great to be a mentor. And these are the values of attending film festivals. This is why sometimes the small ones are the best ones, but this is why even the big ones are extraordinarily important for you to go to. Remember, as writers, we need community. We are only as strong as our community. And if you're not based in LA, these festivals become even more important because they're your opportunity to meet the people that you otherwise would not get to just bump into on the way to pick up some milk. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope to see you at our classes and at the festivals that I'll be speaking at throughout the festival season. And I wish you good luck in finding your tribe and building that connection and that spirit of helping that is so valuable to everyone.